Hi Josh, thanks for your question. And yeah, I guess this exercise can trip up a lot of beginners just because the individual finger dexterity isn't there yet. Because often, most people when they use your hands, you usually just use these sort of fingers in everyday life. So it's quite rare that you use your ring and pinky finger in normal situations, and being able to move them independently is difficult. So this is an exercise to help that, of course. So I have a couple of suggestions here. So yes, ideally you should try to not release that note until you've fretted the next one. Yeah, if you play like this and then you release your finger and then play the next note, that is sort of disjointed playing, and it's something you need to work to eliminate over time. One issue you could be facing is that you have your thumb up too high and therefore you don't have good access to the fretboard. So what I would say is have your thumb down a little bit more so that you have your four fingers here just across the fretboard like that. Another thing I would suggest is maybe starting this exercise somewhere higher up, because these lower frets can be more difficult. So if you want to practice the exercise but you feel like the stretch is too difficult, practice it up here. And then that way you don't have to move too much in order to get to each fret. That sort of thing. And remember, you don't need to keep all the fingers on that you go one at a time like this. You can play that note, then that note, and then you can lift this one and you can go to the next one and then the next one, etc., etc. Like that. Don't stress yourself out too much with this exercise. This is just merely a warm-up exercise, and it is something that is good to just practice if you got spare 5 minutes, or when you start playing, just to get your fingers warmed up and their independency, I guess, warmed up. Independence, that's a better word. So that's my other suggestion. My third suggestion, I guess, is if you're playing your guitar like this, if you're playing it sort of facing your the ceiling a bit more, like your guitar's on an angle, I would not suggest this, because you're then going to have to reach your hand much more around the fretboard, the neck, and it's going to be really difficult for you to get to the frets. So make sure your guitar's sitting really nice and straight and vertically on your lap, and then do the exercise that way. And again, don't have your thumb up too high, otherwise it's going to be tricky for you to especially get up to these higher notes. So have full access to the fretboard, practice the exercise sort of up here, and sort of do as best as you can. You'll get it better over time. And as I said, don't stress out too much if you feel like you can't get this. This by no means should be any sort of roadblock for you to move on to the next lessons or modules. So just use this as an exercise you go to every now and then, but by no means stop here just because you are having trouble with it. Cool. All right. Thanks, Josh. Cheers.